Okay, I wanted to take an even deeper dive. There's been even more related information posted about various armor and stuff by Grimcore in his replies. So there's a ton of stuff to talk about. I also want to talk about where I think some of these pieces of gear would fit into the quality understanding of builds that we have today, and which armors are good and best to use. So depending on what resistances these might have, I'll talk about that. Talk about the cape, chest, whatnot, but let's get into the new stuff first. So Grimcore says take this with a bag of salt, so just might not be the final stuff. Might not be the final design or anything. But also, he says third image, probably won't make it into the game. Getting to work on some mage armor, and if everything feels good, an armor for the ranged Vikings. We are going to war in Ashlands. Oh, that's so exciting. So, this isn't going to be like a plain situation. This is going to be a proper Mistland situation, where a beyond Mistland situation. So, plains we just had a heavy armor set. Mistlands we had Eiderweave armor, and then Carapace, and then finally Ashlands we're going to have probably what seems like 3 new armor sets. A light non-magical set, a magical set, and then a heavy non-magical set. This is exciting. And it gives a lot of room for pieces of this set to be really good and customizable. You know, mix and match, generally gonna be pretty good. So yeah, I mean, look at this. Hello, look at that. Let's zoom out a little bit. Hold on. Whoop. Beautiful. Gorgeous. It's like a even edgier Fenris hood. Look at that. That is beautiful. It matches the Ashlands concept art color scheme. That's cool. I love the reinforcements on the pauldrons, or on the shoulder side. I don't think they're necessarily pauldrons. Looks really nice. Wraith trophy in the recipe, maybe? Curious. I love it. Let's go back. Start something or nothing. And then, yeah, Erica. Interesting. Protection bubble. New armor. Blubble. I don't know if Grimcore is just poking fun at Erica or if this is a legitimate thing. I would have to say he's probably just trolling. But this is just... got me thinking about different types of bubbles that we could have. You know, it's like, well, we could have protection bubbles that deal, like, staggering as a repulsion. If the enemy hits you, they get maybe some knockback and some staggering. That's curious. Or maybe bubbles that have specific resistances on them, but are not too strong HP-wise like protection. That would be interesting. So, cool concept, even if he might be just messing around. Also, naked with the bubble. Yeah, I think he's just messing around. You don't really want to be naked with any bubble. Even though the bubble goes right over your body layer, so it does go over your armor, and it will cover things like root harness, pierce resistance, or even like in the future, if we get that Ashlands chest piece, or if some of the Ashlands heavy pieces have resistances, like even fire res. So fire res, slash res, that'll be covered up by the Staff of Protection bubble. So mages, it's still going to be Fenris, it's still going to be Eiderweave, but because of that, I think they understand this. And that's why Grimcore's like, okay, I'm going to make a new mage armor, and then we'll have a ranged armor. And so these secondary benefits that are going to buff us up, like movement speed, like plus Eider regen, like whatever the new mage set's going to be, and then this ranged set as well. These things are still going to be good to wear, even if you have a bubble around you. So they're going to boost your game, regardless if the body layer is covered or not. The armor value is not as important, it's more about the secondary benefits. Now, non-magical builds, ooh, this is gonna be good. But it's careful because we have all of these swaps to make. So the most important piece right now is our chest piece, because that's Root Harnesk for Pierce. I think some enemies in the Ashlands are probably going to deal Pierce, so it's going to be careful there. And we're probably going to have to swap that out real easy for the heavy chest. So this thing. Let's actually go to the other image. This thing. Real clear. So that'll probably be an easy swap if there's innate fire res there. That's a swap that I would make all day. However, here's the kicker here. That's only if this helmet, this hood, is extremely good. Now here's why I say this. Because right now, best armor set for the Mistlands, non-magical, Fenris Hood, Root Harnesk, Fenris Pants. All of your incoming damage is mitigatable by good strategies, proactive staggering, really getting good AoE in, and just dominating the battlefield. Shouldn't be getting hit too often, but with the Root Harnesk, or with an easy swap to full Fenris, say you're carrying a Fenris coat, which I recommend, and maybe you have a Y'all plus Seeker encounter, so you have your Root Harnesk and you drink a Fire Res potion. Now you have meaningful resistances, so you can be super aggressive. You can ignore certain targets and close down on others, or ignore certain targets as you're closed downing on them, just being super aggressive, knowing that you can get those trades in no problem, shredding them. I've been deathless in the Mistlands twice with this setup, and it's going to be extremely good even to bring into the Ashlands. People thought that you wouldn't be able to bring it into the Mistlands. Proved them wrong twice. We'll prove them wrong as long as I'm playing this game. Ashlands, it's probably going to be the same thing. Using skill and understanding to overcome the weaknesses in raw armor value. And I'll have that easy swap to full Fenris if I need to for Fire Res, or keep the Root Harnesk on and drink a Fire Res if there are Pierce enemies and Fire enemies in the vicinity. Now here's where this hood comes in. So if this hood provides a benefit that contests with the Fenris hood, and let's say the leggings do as well, even if it's just the hood, the Fenris Blessing needs the full set. And now in order to get Fire Res, I would have to drink a potion, or swap to this chest if it gave Fire Res. So this is where I think like a lot of really nice, meaningful choices and decisions, a lot of cool swaps can be made. The custom armor set with like this chest and let's say this hood, I'm already thinking that looks amazing. Fenris Pants, of course this set pants, whatever this is, probably carry some other benefits, right? Most likely. That seems like the direction they're going in. So I'm thinking that it might also be a legitimate thing to think about whether you want Fenris Pants or whatever these pants are. Super curious. Now, the cape. I've already talked about the cape a little bit. We know it's separate because this image and then this image, the hood and cape, are different. We don't know for sure if these things are coming, but let's say they are for now. Hood and cape, feather cape. When do you want one? When do you want the next? Well, this cape would have to provide a huge benefit to be even remotely thought about or even glanced at compared to the feather cape because of how wonderful the feather cape is. Now right now, you see the Ashlands terrain, a lot of it's relatively flat, but there are some instances where you'd want to get up high and glide down. So there are some lava rivers, there are some trees, there are some tall peaks. Any of those situations are really good for gliding. Even when you're doing a small tactical retreat, maybe you want some immediate control, use some Sentinel style strategies. Let's say the lava river slows enemies down but doesn't necessarily hurt them. You could still go up high, use range strategies, okay, enemies, big 2-star or what have you is coming at you. Now you glide back down over the lava river, and the enemy has even more time to where they have to get to you and they have to swim over the lava river, and you can just ping them with ranged strategies until they die. Or just swap to knockback and keep pushing them further back into the river, you know. Death be 1,000 bonks of the sledge variety. Very strong in that regard. And so Feather Cape already seems like it's going to be the bomb in Ashlands. Also, just gliding into fortresses for fortress time. Having that high point advantage, use Huntsman Bow, 4 meter aggro radius instead of 8 meter. Really good for picking off enemies. I assume it's going to be really good unless they outclass it in some way with quieter arrows or a new quiet bow in the future. However, it seems like it's going to be just really good for picking off enemies if they're guarding the top of fortress walls. And then you can use a nearby Ashlands crag, if there is one, to jump and glide in onto the wall. And then while you're on top of the wall, you can use said Huntsman Bow to aggro and pick off other enemies and isolate dangerous targets, pick off mages, no problem. And so Feather Cape is going to make that strategy possible. You know, glide into the thing. It's going to make that much, much more seamless and quick and reliable than, let's say, building into it will be. However, we have yet to see the full extent of the catapult, of the trebuchet, whatever it is. And so the thought is maybe we'll be able to launch ourselves and or our friends into various places as well, fortresses and whatnot. And if we are, then Feather Cape is even better in that scenario. Personally, I think that would be very goofy and very satisfying. I would love for that to happen. And yeah, Feather Cape would be even stronger. So how does this thing even compete? Well, the flat areas, if you want to be super maneuverable and make certain jumps on certain areas and just get places fast vertically so that you can, let's say, reach a weak spot faster, or just combo after a parry or high knockback, or maybe if the terrain slings an enemy at a moderate distance, okay, then you don't want to fall as slowly. And if you're not going to be taking too much fall damage, regardless, if the area is relatively flat, then you would want a cape with any sort of other unique benefits that doesn't slow your fall down. And so, even if this just had fire res, and maybe frost res or something, it would be better than the Feather Cape in that instance, because you don't want to be slow falling. You want to be quick and agile and getting to that weak spot and dominating the enemy before they either recover stagger or recover from some sort of large move that they've just done. However, I think there's going to be much more incentive needed for that to happen. I think that this cape is also going to provide 2 more resistances. I think this cape is going to be, if I had to guess, if I was making this game, this would be like the ultimate resistance cape. It would have 4 resistances / immunities or whatever. I mean, it would technically be a lot more than that. But it would be poison resistance, fire resistance, cold resistance, which comes with comes with like cold damage resistance, immune to cold, immune to freezing effect. That's what cold res does. That was those 3 effects. And then it would also have smoke immunity. Yeah, I think smoke and being smoked out is going to be huge in the Ashlands. So I think we're going to need something like this. This could also apply to this helmet. This could also have smoke immunity, which would be really, really good. I think this hood would probably also have smoke immunity, just looking at it. You see how it kind of has these holes here for filtration. I think that's just a really, really obvious thing for that. And so I think that there's a lot of potential in smoke in the Ashlands, and Feather Cape doesn't have smoke resistance. So yeah, there's that. I say poison because volcanoes have a lot of potential like sulfuric compounds and nastiness that you don't want to breathe in that could be poisonous. So if you have like sulfuric smog, that would be really disgusting. It would be really cool. but you wouldn't want to really be near it or breathing it in. It'd be a really good idea to have some sort of poison res somewhere. Poison res could also be on this hood for the same reasons and stuff, filtration. I think that would be cool as well. And normally I would say, oh, but the power creeping, we're power creeping on old gear. However, it seems like they were going this way anyway with power creeping, since it is towards the end game. And I say this because I made a video right before the Mistlands dropped. I was like, man, if I had like ideal versions of weapons, I would make a frost sword because it has control and DPS, and I would make a lightning polearm because it has a lot of control but has staggering, and lightning is the only element so far that contributes towards staggering, and polearm is the staggering machine. And guess what they introduced in the Mistlands? Both of those. And so I think that a lot of things are being powercraft, a lot of things are being made strong because it is the end game, and I think that all of these resistances being stacked onto a couple of things, it doesn't totally power creep everything. It's still a meaningful choice to go here, there, wherever, and so I think that it still makes room for very good meaningful choices and good design, great swaps. Let me know what you think about all this news. Let me know what you think of my analysis. Tell me what you think that these armors will bring resistance-wise, and I will see you guys some other time. Bye!